What are your thoughts on the Supreme Court ruling against Trump and making money flow to USAID? Okay, I did a little research into this afternoon. And when I say little, I mean a little bit. My understanding, and I could be wrong about this, is that while I still disagree with the decision was to side with the lower court that had told President Trump, that $2 billion that had already been promised for completed work to contractors in other countries. So theoretically, there was $2 billion worth of work that had been completed, and they had sent invoices to USAID to be paid for this work that we had already approved. And what the Supreme Court said was that $2 billion that is covering work that was already done, and who knows what kind of work. My take is that kind of work is not actually work to build hospitals. It's to mostly go to fund, gay parades and things like that. But the decision specifically, as I understand it, was that those $2 billion, which has already been promised and already been invoiced, do need to go ahead and be paid. Now, whether we like it or not, that's not quite the same. My son came running upstairs. Dad, the Supreme Court said Trump can't cancel any USAID money. Well, no, that's not what that decision was.
You just roasted him on stream, Michael.
It's okay. I propped him up a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I'm still frustrated with it. I'd rather we cut it all. But it seems like it was not the headline of Supreme Court blocks Trump's efforts to cut all USAID.
Right. Okay. And the dissent, they basically said, it wasn't so much we disagree with this contract being paid out. They said the precedent of the lower court ruling that this must be applied means that the judicial branch is basically giving directives to the executive branch, which is a very dangerous precedent to set, because then an unelected judge in Hawaii, I don't know, at 11 p.m. at night, could block Trump's Muslim ban, which it didn't happen. It did. Like that. That's the precedent that the dissent, the four more conservative judges against Amy Coney Barrett
and
Roberts, of course, as well as the three liberal judges, that was their dissent against the majority, which again included Justice Roberts and Justice Amy Coney Barrett.
Yep. And to be fair, they kicked it back down and said, "You guys figure this out." Like, it's Trump's team is still going to battle this in the lower court. It's not a finalized decision.
All right, Jeff Halfley, super chat from Jeff.
Whoa. What? Just a quick one right there.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Hey, look at that question he skipped. All right. The Watch Zealot asked, Wesley, what's your squat max? About 350. So for one rep. A couple months ago, I did 225 for 20. That was killer.
That's impressive.
All right.
So, 350.
Right. Jeff Halfley, he gave us a $5 super chat. He says, are we ready for a conversation about how a woman with adopted Haitian kids might not be the best fit for a civil magistrate who prioritizes America first?
That's Amy Coney.
That sounds very familiar. I think that's
seen this in a dream.
I think that's my tweet from earlier today. I think he copied and pasted it. Great question, Jeff. Great question, Joel. I don't know. I think I think that there's a lot of people who are ready for that. They just don't happen to be evangelical women. They're not ready for it, but that's okay, because they don't have to be ready for it. They can, because honestly, they don't need to be having that conversation. Right. There are conversations that my wife's not ready for, and it works out just fine because she doesn't have to have them. Right. I go and have those conversations with men, and then I come home and I roll around on the floor with my little kids and kiss my wife and play a board game with her and have a glass of wine, and she's living her best life now. So that's the world. Women don't have to be ready for those conversations.
And women won't be the ones making the changes. Yep. It will be men that lead the conversation and say, hey, people with these types of allegiances just won't be fit to serve in judicial
But that's
offices.
why I tweeted out, and Jeff is just copying and pasting and putting it here. But
I'm giving you money for it.
You got paid for your own tweet. Like, here's your tweet, and I'd like to pay you for it.
Incredible.
I appreciate
kindness.
it. That's incredible. Yeah, Jeff, that was very kind. But yeah, it shouldn't. My point in tweeting that out was to say, it should not be shocking. It's like, well, but she's one of the conservative Supreme Court justices. She was a Trump appointment. No, guys, there are certain things that you can't overcome. There are things that are belonging to nature. This is the whole point that we get into all the time. Nature remains undefeated. You can manipulate it artificially for a time, but inevitably you will eventually have to pay the piper. And when it comes to nature, women are by nature. They are designed by God, and it's a good thing. This isn't bad. We're not dissing on women. Women are awesome when they're in their telos, when they're in the context that God has designed them for. And women they're made to be nurturing, to be trusting, to be loving, to be encouraging, to be believing and hoping, and all these things, incredible things. And that those are all virtuous, and they are strengths, not weaknesses, not liabilities, strengths when in the proper place, namely the home. So her instinct, Amy Coney Barrett, her instinct to look to the downtrodden and the hurting and to welcome them in, even to the point of adoption. She has 7 children. 2 of them are adopted Haitians, adopting them and saying, I will be a mother to you. That is beautiful in motherhood. It is a liability in the civil magistrate. Mm-hmm. That's the point. No more. It's like, so even if it's a conservative woman, guys, I don't know how to say it any plainer. This is called Warr's law, right? You got to give, honor the king. So you got to give, credit where credit's due. Wendell Warr, this is his law, and the law is, I'm going to paraphrase it, but it is as follows. Any conservative woman in the public square will become liberal.
Right.
Or
is
trending liberal, will become more and more left-wing over time. She will always trend liberal, or if she maintains being conservative and ideally trends conservative, that conservative trend will trend her right out of the public square and into the home. Right? Well, this woman became more and more conservative, and now we don't see her anywhere. Where is she? In the kitchen. That's where she is. Right. And honestly, like Rosario Butterfield would say this. Like, I'm not even trying to be silly. Like Rosario Butterfield would say, yeah, I do less and less podcasts.
Right.
Why? And she would say, because I'm a woman and I have grandkids. Right. And I'm playing with grandkids and baking cookies and being a helpmeet to my husband. And I'm like, yes, please. Mm-hmm. Love that. So, it's like, well, Amy Coney Barrett, she's a conservative woman with 7 children. Look at her and this maternal instinct. And 2 of the children are foreigners who were adopted from overseas. And like, you can't get any more conservative than that, and you can actually. You can wear sundresses and bake sourdough and stay home.
Oh, come on. She's wearing a dress. She's got that long black dress on.
That explains Justice Roberts, too.
Yeah, the judicial robes don't count as a sundress. Yeah. So, So that's the principle. That's called Warr's law. Warr's law states, one more time, that a conservative woman in the public square, that she will, by necessity of being in the public square, she will trend left. Or if she's one of the rare cases that trends right, she'll trend out of the public square. That these 2 things are in direct contradiction to one another: public voice and conservative woman. That by virtue of being a conservative woman, she will opt out of having a massive public status. And if she holds to the status, because I have a dream to be, podcaster, to be a politician, to be a Supreme Court justice, then that dream ultimately will cost her conservative card, and she will eventually forfeit that. So. All right, the clock is running out. You need to go and register now for our Christ is King, How to Defeat Trash World Conference. It's happening the year of our Lord 2025, April 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That's a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And by God's grace, we're able to provide for you an all-star lineup. We've got Steve Dace, Calvin Robinson, Orrin McIntyre, Dr. Stephen Wolfe, Eric Kahn, David Reese, Andrew Isker, John Harris, A.D. Robles, Dan Burkholder, Dusty Devers, Ben Garrett, C.J. Engel, and yours truly, Pastor Joel Webben. Come on out, join us April 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 2025, Thursday through a Saturday. Go to rightresponseconference.com to register today. Again, that's rightresponseconference.com.